Welcome to episode 10 of Stock Car Media's Inside the Garage. We're live this afternoon with Liam and Ryan. I figured out our names this time. That's actually a good thing. We're here to bring you this week's most notable NASCAR news. We're going to start off with the race results from Richmond this past Saturday.
Martin Truex Jr. came out with the win.
He sure did. He led a very dominant Joe Gibbs Racing to the victory. And,
yeah, Denny Hamlin winning both stages.
Right.
And
great. There's my microphone. But Denny Hamlin did win both stages. I honestly thought I was a little worried there he's going to take two in a row. But he didn't quite get that. But it was a very good win for Martin Truex Jr. because he hadn't had a win since like May or something, right?
Right.
He was battling Kyle Busch for a while, right? But then
he fell back quite a bit.
Kyle Busch got a penalty, right?
I do believe so.
He got a penalty, so Kyle Busch was out of the picture. But most of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars were pretty good all night. Christopher Bell was good at times, then he lost it enough to fall back and be insignificant for a while. So he really wasn't as dominant as everybody else, but team that was not dominant for sure was Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh my goodness.
The team who's been very dominant all season really had a trouble this time here at Richmond. You were gonna say, you can finish the Chase Elliott thing here.
Well, Chase Elliott had a little pit mishap.
Right. He was coming onto pit road and he made contact with Ross Chastain as Ross Chastain was leaving his pit box, and there was damage on the the back bumper of the the 9 car, and so Chase Elliott kind of thought he overshot his pit box. So after the jack was already underneath the car, Chase Elliott put it in reverse to fix things, and he only made it worse. He broke the jack, he messed up the rocker panels. And so that was kind of an issue for Chase Elliott.
That was just crazy.
Right. And he wasn't the only Hendrick car to not do so good. Alex Bowman didn't really move, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he kind of stayed 12th place the whole night, which not what he needed after last week.
No.
Although he did survive last week to actually finish the race.
Yes.
So that was pretty good compared to William Byron, who got in a tangle with Alex Bowman earlier in the race. We're talking about Darlington from last week. But he got caught up with Alex Bowman, so they both got damaged, and then William Byron blew a tire and drove straight into the wall.
Yeah.
So not the beginning of the playoffs that Hendrick Motorsports was looking for.
Right.
I mean, even Kyle Larson, who's been dominant all season.
I mean, he had second place and sixth place.
Right.
You can't complain with that.
It was actually pretty good is what I was going to say, because he's no good at Richmond.
No.
Richmond's a dud for him, so the fact that he even finished as well as he did was surprising.
Yes. Ross Chastain, though. Back to Ross Chastain.
Better than Hendrick.
Exactly.
I was saying it last week. They don't get the same level of equipment, but they obviously have a better driver the past few weeks.
Right, exactly. No, it'll be interesting to see what he does over at Trackhouse.
Yeah, I think Trackhouse is probably very happy with their decision to sign him next year. Right, because he's going to the 1 next year, because Trackhouse has purchased Chip Ganassi Racing earlier this summer. And so Ross Chastain, as we mostly expected, is going over there to race, and Kurt Busch is going to 2311 Racing. I didn't write this down at all, but it's kind of interesting to hear about. It's been in the news the past couple of days that Chip Ganassi had to file for that he's going to lay off like 55 employees at Chip Ganassi Racing because doesn't look like Trackhouse is going to be able to take all the employees. So that's kind of unfortunate.
Yes.
It's the things you get when you close your team down. Because think about it, Trackhouse already has one of their teams, and they only have one more charter, so.
Right, exactly. One more team, or one more car team.
Yep.
So you can't take.
They can't. They already have employees, so.
Right, exactly. And obviously, I'm not sure if they'd be building their own cars next year.
Maybe.
I would assume so, but maybe not.
It depends, because they're probably trying to keep as many employees as they can. So that would be one pro of like keeping some of those employees.
Exactly.
They have the expertise, the knowledge in those employees to build their own cars now. They're not looking for the smart people to do it now. They know
No.
where those people are, and they definitely have them if they needed them.
Exactly.
Kurt Busch, you know a little more about that than I do.
Well,
I
lap 40, he kind of got. I think he had a loose tire that spun him around.
Yeah, I
Ended his
saw the
day
crash
early.
and I heard the audio. Won't repeat the audio here.
Of course you won't.
Very reminiscent of his brother Kyle's radio audio. Few expletives in there. But yeah, he wrecked that car pretty early on, and he's in a bleak spot in the playoffs. I mean, it's looking like he'll probably advance to the next round, but he was doing pretty well in the playoffs, and that is completely done for now.
Yeah, he's definitely on the verge of possibly getting eliminated.
He's in the green right now, but he could be in the red if things don't go so well at Bristol.
As a tiebreaker.
Bristol's one of his favorite tracks, though.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say he's gonna do poorly.
No.
Michael McDowell on the other hand,
my goodness, what the heck?
he was fast at the wrong times. He
Pit
wasn't fast
road.
enough to get himself back on the lead lap, but
He was fast enough to speed down pit road.
right.
Multiple
He was like
times.
5 laps down by the end of the race. Not what Michael McDowell needed. Our Daytona 500 champion. We were just as surprised then. Well, you were probably asleep. I was running on about 12 cups of coffee. I was like amazed. Yeah, nobody was expecting Michael McDowell to win the Daytona 500 and lock himself into the playoffs. And I guess our expectation that he was going to do anything in the playoffs would have been wrong, because he wrecked out last week. He probably would have done better if he wrecked out this week. Like if he had actually stayed on the lead lap and just like wrecked on like 30 laps to go or something, would have been better for him. But unless he wins next week, which I really don't see happening whatsoever, he's out.
Yeah, he's done for.
And I like this race, and I'm gonna get into the point that most people didn't. This is one of the worst rated races in a long time. Richmond's never usually really good on the ratings, but
no. I mean, it's kind of a dull track, anyways.
Yeah, but I really did like the battle between Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott. Well, we were kind of busy earlier in the night, so I tuned in right about that time, and that was interesting. I guess probably what lowered the ratings was that it was Chase Elliott not getting past Denny Hamlin and Denny Hamlin running down Chase Elliott, because we all know Chase Elliott's a really popular driver. But I thought that was a really good battle, honestly. Close racing there. The rest of the field was obviously hard to say the same about because it was kind of spread out, but that was a really cool battle. I think that just about wraps up our race results here, but obviously good night for JGR, kind of what they needed compared to what they've been doing the past few months here, pre-playoffs.
At least for the 11 car.
Yeah. He's gaining a lot more points than he was before. A win and now 2 stage wins and all in a couple weeks here.
Exactly.
Next up we have Shave Logic. They sponsored Corey LaJoy and Justin Haley this past weekend at Richmond. Those are some pretty cars.
Yeah.
pretty. But I love that color blue. What did you think of the paint schemes?
I thought it was very I liked how they had the black base with the blue kind of highlights on LaJoy's, and then they
vice versa.
Then they reversed the scheme for Haley. But
I really like that color. It's kind of awesome. I don't usually say that about paint schemes for lower teams like that, but that was a really cool paint scheme.
Yes.
Shave Logic, if you didn't know, Shave Logic is a razor company. They make luxury razors, and they will guarantee your money back. So I guess they're pretty confident in their razor building abilities. Although I'm not. Well, it depends how much they cost. That I did not look into, but I'm not sure I know anybody who'd go bring back their razor to the store and this didn't work.
They cut my face.
Well, they claim to have the world's best shave. So I don't know.
Okay.
They seem very, very confident, and I'll give them that because
okay.
I don't know any better.
Of course you don't. But we're going to move on to Beard Motorsports. They'll be returning to try and qualify for the Daytona 500 next year in 2022.
Hopefully they can.
They don't have a driver selected as of right now. Noah Gragson missed
Yeah, and it was in the duels, right?
being able to race in the 500 in the duels.
Yeah, he was pretty close. He was probably in the same, well, not probably, pretty much in the same situation that Ty Dillon was in.
Yes.
It was not really that bad of a car.
No,
I mean,
it
it
was
wasn't
a
that
very
great
bad
of a car, but it wasn't. There were some much worse cars that made it in.
Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of, well, it was sad
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that Mark Beard Sr. had died only a couple days before that, and they were running with his name on the side of the car. And yeah, hopefully, I don't know who they're gonna put in the car this year. They could go with Gragson again because he's a hot name. He's I wouldn't say he's the best driver in the world, but
No.
he's definitely not the worst driver, and he probably needs the experience. So if they can lay down a deal, that'd be pretty cool.
Right.
Speaking of Noah Gragson, he won this past weekend at Richmond in the Xfinity Series race, making
Another
it 2
shocker.
in a row.
I didn't expect him to do 2 in a row. He's more of a one-win-a-season type of driver.
Yeah, depends on what season you're talking about, but
That's true.
yeah, he won at the Lady in Black last week, Darlington Raceway, and now he won again here at Richmond. I really wouldn't say he was the dominant car of the race, but
No.
he did surprise me, because I was watching the race and I stepped away from it for a little bit, and when I came back, he was winning, or he had won. In that race, few cool things going on. One of them was Tommy Joe Martins.
He almost won stage 1. Almost.
Yeah, he was the first car on new tires at the end of the stage there, and he really had a run there. He was leading there with 5 laps to go. I think he took the lead, and then he was like staying ahead of AJ Allmendinger, and somebody slowed in front of him, and AJ Allmendinger was able to pass. Now that was kind of bad situation for
Tommy
Joe
Martins.
Martins. Didn't really end well for him. Obviously they were a set of tires down because of that, and then they got involved in a wreck with, I think it was Spencer Boyd, who also had new tires on and was plowing through the field at the time. So both of those teams, they had amazing ends to stage 1, and I want to put in J.J. Yaley in there because he was doing pretty good as well. But obviously Boyd and Martins, they got into each other, and they both finished like 30-something, which is not what either of them wanted. But they had a great end of stage 1 and an unfortunate end of the day.
Right. We had Dale Jr. racing last week.
Right.
At over the past weekend
Yeah,
at
Richmond, we had Dale Jr. back once a year.
Yep.
He gets in the car. He gets some experience under his belt, and that might be funny to say about somebody like Dale Jr. You think he'd have enough experience, he wouldn't be saying that, but I was watching some interviews with him. I was listening to some stuff, and he was saying how like 5 years out of the car, you start to forget stuff. And he works in the NBC booth. You kind of need to know that stuff.
Right.
That really made me question, kind of, names like Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon. Obviously, Jeff Gordon's not coming back to Fox, but
no.
It made me think about the things they've been saying in the past few years. How accurate was any of that stuff? It's kind of cool that Dale Jr. is actually really invested in that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he owns a race team, so
it makes
he
it
has
a little more
opportunity to
possible.
do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Darrell Waltrip wasn't probably going to convince very many people to get in their car and go race a lap or two, because I don't know if he'd get further than a lap or two.
No.
No, he is a legend, but he's also, I mean, if he got in the car today, he'd be 20 years removed.
It was basically.
And the end of his career was not the brightest.
No.
But Dale Jr. had a very, very good battle with Josh Williams, to the point where Josh Williams is getting some hate comments and stuff. And he actually posted this morning that somebody sent him a video on Twitter burning their Josh Williams hero cards because they were fans of Dale Jr. I don't think either of those drivers are really mad at each other.
No, they were having fun.
Yeah, they were just racing hard. I mean, if I was Josh Williams, I don't think he's really mad, but I wouldn't be mad because you just got to race with Dale Jr.
Yeah.
If anything, you got some talent. it shows. And he got TV time. He was on TV forever because, Dale Jr., big name. He's battling Josh Williams. That's got to get televised. And
Oh,
it did.
yeah.
Same thing for Tommy Joe Martins. The fact that he wrecked, he kind of wrecked. He didn't wreck it, but he spun out. The fact that he had kind of a weird ending to his day was not that unfortunate when you think about it, because he got a solid probably like 10 laps, because while he was plowing through the field, they're like, hey, look at Tommy Joe Martins. That's like a 24th place car. And Alpha Prime Racing is what they're going to become next year, but Alpha Prime was on the car. Sponsor got tons of TV time, probably like 10 laps, and that's really good for sponsors.
Yes.
That's really good for the race team because it puts them out there.
Well, obviously, speaking of sponsors, it's worth noting that Bass Pro Shops had their weekend sweep over at Richmond.
You're right. I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Liam thinks of that stuff more than I do. But what's his name? I forget the guy who owns Bass Pro Shops, but he got to be happy.
Oh.
He puts a lot of money into the sport. Yeah. Gregson, he gets a lot of money from Bass Pro Shops and True Timber and Black Rifle Coffee. Black Rifle Coffee? Never heard of that.
Sticking with the Bass Pro Shops topic, we got the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race coming up.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Right, we're gonna finally get to see that subway car.
Yes.
That
They haven't released the scheme yet, but
I know. I'm excited. If only this was a day later. I bet you tomorrow. They always pick the days where I'm busy. Man, they're gonna release that in the next couple of days. I know.
Yes.
We're gonna see that subway car. If you don't know what we're talking about, Kevin Harvick, he's notoriously known to run Jimmy John's, which is a subway, or not a subway, a sub shop. And Jimmy John said, you know what? You're not performing like we want to. Bye-bye. And Subway said, you know what, Jimmy Johns, you just left. We're filling the spot. So pretty good for Subway. Probably.
It's been 5 years since we've seen a Subway-sponsored car. It was Daniel Suarez. Subway left Daniel Suarez because he was handing out Dunkin' Donuts products to fans.
Right. No, that was stupid. But
yeah, exactly.
That was stupid. But it's been a while since we've seen we haven't even seen any Jimmy Johns this year, have we?
Jimmy Johns, yeah, there's a few races that he ran it already. So I mean, pulling through halfway through the season is kind of weird, but
yeah, they've been decreasing their sponsorship the past years. Even last year, they only had a few races, and that was a 9-win season for Kevin Harvick, his career height, pretty much, my opinion. And it's
his career peak.
Right.
He won't hit that again.
You know, I was looking at something. So, JG Doherty Racing, they're always sponsored by Kroger. And I never realized, so we do know that Kevin Harvick Incorporated manages those guys.
Yes.
But Kevin Harvick has had a relationship with Kroger a long time. I wonder if that's how that got started. I honestly have no information on this, but it's interesting to see. Because those guys have an awesome relationship with Kroger. And Kevin Harvick has had it for probably longer than JDG Doherty has even been in Cup.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think that just about wraps it up.
Yeah, wraps up.
Not too much news this week. Obviously, we could scrape up enough stuff to talk about. There's never a lack of things to talk about, but some weeks are more interesting than others.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to the news. I was more than happy to deliver it, and I'm sure Liam was too. If you enjoyed what you heard, you can always head over to our website, stockcarmedia.blogspot.com. All the latest news is there. We post it as soon as possible, by the minute, by the hour, pretty quick. And if you want to get updated on when that happens, you can always follow us on our social media, at stockcarmedia on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're always posting on there. There's always some good stuff. Start a conversation with us. Be more than happy to continue it. If you liked what you saw on here, you can always subscribe so you know the next time we go live. Should be next Monday-ish.
Yep.
We've been pretty good about liking and subscribing, so happy with that. If you like what you saw. But thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for listening to the news. See you next time. Have a good one. I didn't even realize I was doing that till you pulled it out of my hands.
Oh, like, come on, stop! That would drive me absolutely